Why is he turning to a Alan Combs in the Hannity and Combs structure here? I just, it hurts my feelings to see my uncle behave like this.
No, I know.
Hasan Piker is melting down now because him, Destiny, and David Pakman are really the only people who are independent creators. Obviously, there's people paid off by mainstream media. You know, we have The View and all those idiots out there. But these three are the main three that are still independent, who are still trying to hold on to what the woke cult was. Everybody else is kind of waking up to the fact, including Cenk, who was Hasan Piker's uncle, but everybody's waking up to the fact that they were wrong and that their side is the losing side. So they're now switching sides to the right wing because all they care about over there is just being on the winning side. Hasan Piker is melting down over his uncle speaking at Charlie Kirk's conference and the things that Cenk said at this conference. Let's get into this clip here where Hasan Piker loses his mind over his own uncle, Cenk, speaking at Charlie Kirk's conference.
Tolerate their intolerance because their intolerance is inherently illogical. Their intolerance is not coming from a place of genuine concern, but pure anger. And oftentimes, it is a very apt mechanism of distraction and deflection away from the real vectors of harm in contemporary society. It's stupid. This doesn't mean that you should, like, I don't know, actively treat every anyone and everyone as though they're Charlie Kirk. You know what I mean? Like a professional villain. But it certainly means that it certainly means that, like, stay true to your convictions and try to find areas where you do agree that do not pertain to shitting on trans people or shitting on black people, or you can stay civil, especially when you're having a conversation with, you know, normal conservatives who are victims of propaganda themselves, understanding that they arrived at these positions due to so much social conditioning. Okay. Yo, you just said not to compromise. You need to be more careful with your words. Yes. Never compromise on your values. The f do you mean? Never compromise on your values and never capitulate to right-wing framing. Absolutely. But
yeah, Hasan has definitely, he's lived that for sure. Hasan Piker definitely does not compromise on his values. His values, such as saying things like America deserved 9/11 and things like that. He doubled and tripled down on that when confronted about it. Hasan has supported Hamas and he's doubled and tripled down on that. He definitely doesn't bow down to the right wing. He definitely doesn't. The things that he says are absolutely insane. And I'm one of those people that, you know, I would say I'm kind of more on the edgy side of things. I'm pretty black-pilled, right? I don't think there's much good coming for this country. I just don't. I think there's just evil people running it. And most people are just not awake to that fact. Even the people who think they're awake, they're going after the wrong people. So, like, when it comes to the Middle East stuff, I kind of just on the side of, like, I don't really care who wins or loses. I hope they both lose. They have nothing to do with me. The only thing I care about is stop taking my money out of my pocket and sending it over there for children to be killed. That's what I care about. So I don't have a side, okay? But saying that you support Hamas is clinically insane. They're terrorists. They're horrible people. I don't care which side that you're on. They are bad people. And Hasan supports them. And he said that over and over again. He definitely doesn't bow down to the right, for sure.
That doesn't mean that you should also be antagonistic or aggressive to some random conservative person that you met. Okay. I try to play this delicate line fairly well to the best of my ability. You can find similarities. You can find shared interests. You can find areas of civility. You can find areas where you're in agreement. That is how you're supposed to do that. That is actually a very successful way, in my opinion, of actively de-radicalizing people. But the similarities that you find should not be centered around how you also personally think, yeah, some of these trans people are weird and gross. Like, creating a permission structure to shit on trans people is stupid, because all of a sudden now you're just continuously normalizing their attitude. You're giving them additional security in their bigotry rather than try to decouple them away from this bigoted way of understanding the world. Now, of course, Charlie Kirk himself is not, you know, a random conservative guy. He is actively working to create more random conservative guys and doing it fairly successfully. He is a part of a major machine, and his wealth and his...
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Prominence in this world relies on him successfully doing so, relies on him actively turning people more conservative.
So you got to know what to convince the American people of and what to hold your ground on. And the number one thing to hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
What? You said not to compromise with conservatives is about finding middle ground? No, dude. You completely misunderstand my point, okay? You completely misunderstand my point. What do you mean finding a middle ground? Conservatives say mass deport every single immigrant living on U.S. soil. You say don't mass deport any immigrant living on U.S. soil. Is the middle ground that we just deport, what, 10 million migrants then? Like, the idea that there is a golden mean in every situation is perhaps one of the most commonly misunderstood positions that people just slap on to every single instance where it doesn't fit. Okay? It is so stupid. If the fundamental principles are completely flawed, you can't compromise on that. Okay? No, it's about trying to understand why they think that way. Usually they have misinformation. It's about educating them by finding where they're at.
Dude, isn't this just wild? Like, this is why I'm black-pilled right now. Number one, what the hell is he even saying? Like, he's just saying a bunch of words. Number two, both sides think the same exact thing about one another. Like, they think we are brainwashed. They think that we are victims of misinformation. And look, a lot of right-wingers probably are. But they think the same thing about us that we think about them. Now, I obviously think that we're correct. You know, I do. I genuinely do. When I sit back and look at it from a bird's eye view, most of the time, the side that wants to censor the other side, the side that will not sit down and debate the other side, and when Hasan Piker is melting down over Cenk, you are sitting down with the other side and having a conversation, that side is normally the one that's wrong because they don't want to compete in the marketplace of ideas. But they still think and say the same exact things that we say about them and truly believe it. Isn't that just another black pill right there? Like, that just shows me that we have no hope. We have 50% of the country fully convinced the other side is brainwashed, and the other 50% is fully convinced the other side is brainwashed. How do we even come to a compromise? How do we even come together to make the country a better place at that point? It's just broken. But also, like I said, what the hell is he even saying? Like, he's just saying word salad. That's all. Every time I watch Hasan, which isn't often, by the way, it's only when I make these videos, but every time I watch Hasan, all he does is read his chat. He's like, yeah. Like, he just read his chat and says, yeah. That's all he does. He just yaps. It doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean? Okay, you can't say it's about finding middle ground. Ironic, because you just started this process by saying you need to be more careful with your words. And then you literally went into a position that is entirely different than this. Maybe you should be more careful with your words, chatter. The do you mean? You say it's about finding middle ground. No, it's about trying to understand why they think that way. Usually they have misinformation. It's about educating them by finding where they're at. Yeah, I don't disagree with this. And not only do I not disagree with this is something that I believe personally as well. I know where a lot of that that false belief comes from. I just described it. If you were listening to my words, you would have understood it. I said it comes from social conditioning. But it's not about finding middle ground. It's about finding common ground. And it's about reorienting people's anger to the appropriate vectors of pain. It's about recognizing where that harm comes from and then saying, I see you, I feel you, and I know exactly where it's coming from. It's not like one of the easiest ways to kind of just judo your way out of this argument whenever someone is being like hyper transphobic is telling them, like, it's not, you know, your manager is not a trans person, okay? BlackRock buying out the remainder of the available housing inventory is not conducted at the behest of big trans. It's not a trans person. It's not an undocumented migrant that's like your landlord that is causing you pain in your life. It's not an undocumented migrant that's your manager, okay? And even if they were, they're not doing that because they're an undocumented migrant or trans. They're doing that because that's the position that they have arrived at in society. Society has normalized this kind of infliction of pain. Yeah. People be like, I'm so mad that eggs are $8. And it's like, yeah, it's because of trans people. You know, it's the corporate structure. It's the fact that American Congress is bought and sold by corporations.
To hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
I mean, here, hit him back with the Second Amendment is a false interpretation. The modern understanding of the Second Amendment is completely at odds with the way that it was historically interpreted. Go ahead. Don't let him get away with that. Come on. Shaky Gurga. Why is he turning to a Alan Combs in the Hannity and Combs structure here? I just, it hurts my feelings to see my uncle behave like this.
So, no, I know. So guys, look at
Hurts his feelings because, like I said earlier, these people don't want to compete in the marketplace of ideas. It hurts his feelings because he's thinking, man, my uncle is really betraying us by talking to the right wing. Like, that's what he genuinely thinks. It's a wild way of thinking, in my opinion. When I used to do a lot of live streams and stuff, if you guys don't know, this isn't like my first YouTube channel. I had another one. It's now called Bring the Asteroid, and I have somebody else hosting it. But that was like my first YouTube channel, and then something happened with it. It's all good now. Everything is sorted out. But I used to do a lot of live streams, and I used to try to seek out leftists to debate and come on stream and talk to me and like have conversations. It was impossible. I actually know this guy, like friend of a friend. We used to play video games in the same Discord. It's crazy. But it's this guy, his name's Papa Gut. You might have heard of him. I think he was pretty big on TikTok for a while. And I don't know if he's necessarily a leftist, but he definitely disagrees with me on a whole lot of things. And I tried to get him to come on, and he just wouldn't do it. And we have like mutual friends and stuff, and he just wouldn't do it. And I've asked a ton of other leftists, they just won't come on. So whenever people like Hasan Piker see his uncle, Cenk Uygur, talking with the enemy, it hurts his feelings. You know, it probably makes him, it probably hurts. It's like, damn, I thought we agreed. We all had this agreement, right? We're not supposed to talk to them. They're bad people, everything like that. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about what Hasan Piker has to say about Cenk Uygur speaking at Charlie Kirk's event. I guess it's bad to even go to the event. I don't get it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Hasan Piker versus Cenk Uygur situation.